Homeownership is low-key one of the absolute biggest scams in American history.
I like how after you finish paying off your stupid house mortgage, you still gotta keep paying for it. So the house technically is never even yours.
I heard you were thinking about buying a house. I'm here to tell you not to. Don't.
Buying a house in America right now really feels like a scam. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Not because homes aren't real or not because ownership isn't powerful. Those things are true. But because the math just doesn't add up, it really just feels fake at the end of the day. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you guys, okay? You make more money than you did 5 years ago, okay? You've done all the right things. You stayed out of trouble, you build your credit, and you saved money. And somehow you are further away from owning a home than you were before. How is it possible? A few years ago, mortgage rates were around 3%, okay? Today, they are hovering around double that amount. That means the same exact house, okay? The same kitchen, same roof, same floors, bathroom, the same neighborhood now costs hundreds of thousands more every single month. Not because the house changed, but because the rate did. Here's the crazy twist about all this. Home prices didn't drop enough to compensate. So now you just have high prices, high interest, high property taxes, high insurance. It's like the final boss has 4 more health bars in a video game from gaming nerds out there. And then someone will walk up to you and just say, hey, just save 20%. Okay, cool. On a $500,000 home, that is $100,000 that I have to have saved up for a down payment. In what universe is that normal for a quote-unquote starter home? Meanwhile, let's not bring up the rent, the groceries, car insurance, student loans. Everything is up nowadays, okay? Except for our buying power. The system rewards people who already got in, okay? If you bought a house in 2019, you're chilling. Low rate, massive appreciation, equity building itself. Like if you're good. But if you're trying to buy now, you are literally finding low inventory. You're finding investors with cash, boomers that won't even give up their house or won't sell, and you're finding mortgage rates that make your eyes literally pour out in tears. It feels like buying a home today feels like you're showing up to a party after all the food is gone and you're just getting leftovers. And I want to talk about the psychological damage for a second too, because our parents bought homes in their 20s off of one income. Now you're in your 30s with 2 incomes and wondering if you can even afford a condo with HOA fees that feel like a subscription service. That will literally mess with your head. It makes you question if you are behind, if you failed in life, or if you didn't work hard enough. But here's the reality. This is one of the most unaffordable housing markets in modern American history. That's not your imagination. That is literally data that you can look up on Google. So what do we do now? We don't panic buy, okay? We don't stretch ourselves so thin that one emergency literally wipes us out. And we don't let social media convince us that renting is failure, okay? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Being house poor is worse than renting smart, in my opinion, okay? If your mortgage eats up 50% of your income, you literally cannot invest, you cannot breathe. You didn't win, you just changed your landlord to a bank, okay? Markets move in cycles. Rates change, inventory will shift, and opportunities appear when the fear is high. The people who win long term, they prepare when everyone else complains, all right? Improve your credit, stack up your cash, and kill the high interest debt that you have, and learn your local market like it is literally a game, because it is. Because when the window opens, and it will, you can count on that, you want to be ready, guys. Not emotional, but ready.
Homeownership is low-key one of the absolute biggest scams in American history. You got to sink in a big chunk of cash to be a down payment. You got to sink in a big chunk of cash to buy furniture. Now you got to pay insurance, you got to pay mortgage, you got to pay taxes. And oh, by the way, you put all that money into something and it's not making you any more money. It's just costing you more money. So it's what makes the bank's lending system work. And then they take the money that you give them and then they invest it not into homes, but into cash flowing assets. I did it the opposite way around. I bought a cash flowing asset first and second and third, and then I took the cash flow from those properties to buy my home. But you have people out here risking it all on a fucking home, and look, if it always worked out, there wouldn't be such a thing as foreclosures. It's a big industry for a reason.
Buying a house is like one of the worst investments you can make, and I'm here to tell you why. Let's say you buy an average house, $400,000, 3% down, and your interest rate is 4.5. You will not guess how much this will cost you. Over the life of this loan, you will be paying $319,000 in interest. You're literally almost paying double for the house, right? Because the house is $400,000 and come on now. That brings the whole total to $827,000. So almost $1 million for a $400,000 house. It actually took Jeff Bezos about $300,000 to start Amazon, and now he makes $7,300 each second. Dramatic example, yes, but the facts are you can definitely take that money and do something else with it that might make you even more money. Or if you do buy real estate, because, I like real estate, rent something out, get an Airbnb, rent out one of the rooms, actually make money for you. We all need somewhere to live, so I'm not saying don't buy a house. I'm looking to buy a house right now, but just don't think about it as an investment because investments make you money, and that, my friends, does not.
I was 29 years old when I first purchased my house in LA County in California. And man, I tell you, owning a home is literally a scam. And in America is that you never actually own your house. You never actually own your house. I'm telling you, because on top of everything, you have to pay like over $10,000 a year just on property taxes. And when you don't, guess who's going to be at your door? Mr. Uncle Sam himself. And these are types of things that I was never aware about because, I was young when I first bought my house, so I didn't know better, but there's just so much added up. The maintenance, I tell you, that is a lot of work to do. So if you're buying a house, it's not just like paying off your house. There's other expenses involved. Having a tenant doesn't guarantee that your mortgage is always going to be paid because imagine your tenant loses their job. Who's going to pay their rent? The mortgage, It's going to be you. It's going to come out of your freaking pocket. And you can't always rely on other people to pay your mortgage for you. At least in the state of California. I don't know anywhere else, correct me if I'm wrong, but in California, the tenants have rights and the burden of responsibility falls on the homeowner. So there's that. Also, fire department just showed up at my house yesterday and they were like, hey, it's going to be fire season. You have to cut off all your trees, do all your yard work. And I'm like, dude, is the state gonna pay for that? Because I have to find someone and pay thousands of dollars for this now. And it's like, it never ends. There's always money after money after money. And if shit screws up, the burden of responsibility falls on you as the homeowner. So there's that. I would buy a house if there's multi-income, if you're going to be a multi-income household and you guys, all the people involved have stable jobs, then yes. But man, if you're single and you're buying a house, I would definitely reconsider that. So yeah, just be mindful.
You are not buying a house. You are buying the right to live in a house and pay the bank. So people need to stop saying, oh, I bought a house, I own my house. You can't, no. You don't own anything someone can take from you. And you did not buy the house. The only time you can say you own your home is if you have no mortgage. Even then you don't own it because if you don't pay property taxes, they can still take it from you.
You'll see all these $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 houses. Hell, here's one. There's one. All right. I want to show you what these sumbitches are made out of. You see that? Look at this shit. Hold on, it gets better. Okay. Now, behind all those bricks, right there, there's this. Ain't shit to it. Y'all want y'all's goddamn homes built out of fucking cardboard? 200 G's. 200 G's.
My husband and I are starting to look at buying a house, and I have a couple of things that I just have questions on. The first one being, why is a broken down shack $350,000? I am appalled at the prices right now. And yes, I know the market's not that great, but let's be for real for a second. Also, I feel like there should be some law about first-time home buyers being able to get out of their lease, because the fact that you have to rush to find a house but also slow down and not find one too quickly to make it line up with when you, not your lease is up, but when you have to give notice for your lease, which is usually 2 full months before your actual lease is up. Like, it just feels like this huge game that I genuinely don't want to play, and I hate it. I also love following along on all the come house hunting with me, come apartment touring with me, but you'll not find me filming other people's literally still lived in homes. I feel like that is so bizarre to show people's belongings. I kind of get it when it's like an empty space and like who really cares, but a lot of the houses we've looked at, people still have their personal belongings in, and I'm not gonna be putting that on the internet. I like following other people's videos, but I'm not gonna be the one to do it, that's for sure. So yeah, I just feel like the whole thing is a scam, and quite frankly, I'm over it.
We need to talk about how much of a scam buying a house is, especially if you live in a high income city. Because a couple years ago, my fiance and I bought a $1.3 million house. I was 26 years old. We split it 50-50. And now we kind of regret everything. And before you're like, oh, $1 million? Like that's kind of a lot. I live in Bay Area. Okay, $1 million here will get you an entry-level home or a shack. I feel like we've just been fed this like American dream that owning a house means you're a successful adult, but it really doesn't mean anything. And there's so many ways to like rent and to build wealth nowadays that it's like it doesn't financially make sense to even own a house early. For starters, our house is now worth $900K. We lost $400K from our initial investment down payment of $200K. Versus if we just put that $200K somewhere like the S&P 500, we would be up to $300K right now. This was a $700K investment mistake. A lot of people don't realize that when you tie up this amount of money in a house, you're missing the opportunity cost of being able to invest that chunk of money elsewhere. And for the people that are like, oh, well, at least you're building equity. Not really, because when you take out a mortgage on a house, you're actually paying mostly interest to the bank for the first 10 years of the mortgage. Like your first year of your mortgage, 80% of your payment will be interest to the bank. The math, like, it doesn't math. And let's say for fun, we decide to keep this home as an investment home. Like we'll keep it and we'll rent it out. Well, our mortgage plus our property tax right now is $6K. And the same house in this area is renting out for $4K. So we would lose $2K a month, even just like keeping the home. The math doesn't math. And I already know there's gonna be some people that are like, oh, well, you gotta play the appreciation game. Like house prices will always go up. Not really. Not if you bought in the wrong place or the wrong time, because for example, the interest rates are so high right now that a lot of houses in Bay Area are selling for underneath market rate because there's just not enough buyers that want to buy at this interest rate. Unless you buy in a really nice neighborhood with great schools, a Whole Foods on the corner, unless you buy in one of those neighborhoods will go up. But the thing is, the houses in those neighborhoods are so expensive, you're gonna get priced out if you're looking for an entry-level home. And a really good example right now that's happening of depreciation is Florida, because the hurricanes in Florida are so bad that a lot of insurance agents are pulling out of Florida or charging crazy prices. So a lot of home values in Florida are depreciating, like they're literally plummeting. And there's like a lot of small things that renters don't even have to worry about, like HOA fees or having to replace your roof every couple years for like $20K each time, or having to repair your appliances, or calling the gutter man to come and clean your gutters. Like there's so many little things that you have to spend money on as a homeowner. Anyway, I'm not saying to never buy a house. I'm just saying that you shouldn't let your parents or society gaslight you into thinking that it's the smartest financial move. And you definitely shouldn't rush into it. Follow for more tech and money truths.
I like how after you finish paying off your stupid house mortgage, you still gotta keep paying for it. So the house technically is never even yours, which means you gotta keep paying for it till the day you fucking die. What kind of stupid shit is this?
I got my first letter in the mail. I just moved into a new neighborhood. I bought property. Feeling good. Feeling great. How about you? All right? I open up this letter I didn't realize that when you buy a house, you have to pay to breathe. Breathing air costs money, okay? This is a thing called council rates. Thanks, Mum, for educating me on this. Why didn't they teach this in school? I'm about to pay $411 for my recycling bins. The general bin, the mixed recycling bin, the food, the gardening bin. That's my first payment. There's going to be a lot more where that comes from. They're the only letters I'm getting in the mail. Why did I think my neighbors were inviting me for dinner? I thought I was going to get a letter saying, come over, girlfriend, let's have a dinner. You're such an adult. No. Council rates. Yay.
Hey sis, I heard you were thinking about buying a house. I'm here to tell you not to. Don't. Don't do it. Don't do it, bitch. Let me tell you exactly why. Last night, I'm in my laundry room, minding my business, doing my laundry, you know, trying to be a housewife. I actually wasn't, because I wasn't even doing his laundry. I was doing mine. Doesn't matter. Irrelevant. I'm walking on the ground. I'm like, why does it feel... I'm hearing this squish sound. This squish. It kept going... Shh, shh. I was like, it sounds like water's under the floor. When I moved into my condo, there was already this little hump in the wood on the floor by the AC unit that is in a closet. And I was just like, oh, like, you know, the floors are where they are. Like, I'm assuming because I bought my home fully renovated that just, it comes with the house. This is just coming, this is with the territory. This is what it is. The floor is a little wonky. That was in 2022. You know, I go about my business as usual with my little warped floor. Charm. It's charming. It's charming to have a little bump in the floor, a little imperfection in the home. No. Apparently, my AC unit has been sweating and collecting water that has leaked under the unit, into the ground, into the floor. And I've noticed over the past month that that little hump has become a big hump and that the floor has become a little more warped than usual. Listen, I'm just a girl. So yes, I can admit that I ignored things. If you know me by now, then you know that I have dealt with a lot of issues with my home since I moved in. I have a psychotic upstairs neighbor who has flooded my house now twice. 2 times in 3 months that I was first living here. First, he flooded my guest bathroom, then he flooded my primary bathroom, and I have had to spend thousands of dollars because insurance didn't cover it to fix water damage in my home twice now. So anything having to do with water in this home, I have very, very understandable PTSD. Like, I don't want to deal with any further issue from this home, period. Fast forward to last night, I'm walking on the floor and I hear squish, squish, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I do a little lean to my left foot. Water coming out the side plank of the wood into my guest bathroom. So naturally, I'm unwell. I'm looking it up on ChatGPT. I'm sending ChatGPT pictures. I'm like, what does this mean? Is my house flooding? You know what? Listen, I know we're not supposed to use ChatGPT, but ChatGPT was saving me last night because I was clearly about to have a heart attack. I send the pictures of the wider image of where the water is coming from, what's going on. Chat is like, hey sis. Well, actually it said, sorry bestie, I think that this is an issue with your AC unit. Sorry you're dealing with this. I look at my AC unit, they're like, check for any kind of water. Is there any water dripping? There's water on the filter, which is also dirty as fuck because, newsflash, the filters for the AC units say that they are good for up to 3 months. If you are running your AC every day, I just learned this 5 seconds ago, you're supposed to be changing that filter once a month. Hello. Then the AC guy, so lovely. He came, checked my shit out, was like, yeah, sis, these need monthly maintenance from you to change the filters out. You need maintenance like 4 times a year on your HVAC unit. How the fuck am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to know that? Who was gonna tell me that? Then he's like, well, you know, like your filter in your dishwasher is supposed to change that. Who's supposed to change that? Who's supposed to change that? I said, what? He was like, I used to work on home appliances. Let me take a look. He takes a look. Clean as a whistle. Thank God. He was like, do you have a cleaning lady? I was like, yeah, I have a cleaning lady. He's like, the cleaning lady's probably been cleaning it for you. I said, thank God for Sandra. Because what? What? Then he showed me some flute system thing that comes out of the sink that puts the water into the sink that comes with the dishwasher. That's not my testimony. I am not meant for that. I am not meant for that. I'm meant for this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not supposed to be checking filters. What? And like, I love my man down. That's also not what he's supposed to be doing. Who is supposed to be doing that? Who's supposed to be doing that? Maybe he is the one supposed to be doing that. But we don't do it. What? We've never done that before. We've never thought about, like, who is teaching y'all home maintenance things? Who is teaching you? And where do I hire them and how do I get them in my life ASAP? Because what the actual fuck? Then he was like, well, you know, also your fridge filter needs to be changed. Do you use the ice machine? Do you use the water? What? He was like, yeah, some filters have to be changed like every year. What are you talking about? He pops it open. Guess how often the filter needs to be changed? I'll wait. If your answer was every 6 months, every 6 months, ask me when the last time it was changed. Actually, don't fucking ask me. But ask me when was the last time I used ice. Yesterday. I am sick to my stomach, fam. This is the craziest shit, and this is the shit that comes with home ownership that they don't tell you about. They don't tell you about this shit. They think, oh, I have a home, plus with my keys, oh, look, with champagne. Fuck all that. Get an apartment. 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 Live in that apartment 2-3 years, whatever. You got your super, you got your maintenance guy, they come by, they do the shit. Because now my floors definitely fucked. Definitely have to get ripped up. Definitely have to get replaced. My AC unit needs a full fixer. It's only 3 years old, but now there's water condensate, overflow, flooding, issue, bacteria buildup getting into the air in the house. What if I just drop dead? Mind you, we're renovating the house in New Jersey. And so now I'm like, oh, yes, okay, the more you know. This is great. Now I have new information to take me into my next home ownership. My other thought is, bitch, you don't need to have no motherfucking house. What are you talking about? You can't even handle the one you've got. How you gonna handle? Is there a housewifery course that you can take that teaches you these things? Because I feel like between the boomers and Gen X, there's some shit that y'all are not passing down. And I resent nepotism. Because how am I a nepo baby? I don't know nothing. Not even a real nepo baby. I'm like just a first gen kid with some shit. And so now I'm like, what the fuck? Because I don't even know any of this shit. Who's gonna teach me? My parents were so busy, happy to make sure that I had everything I needed. Bitch, you were supposed to be teaching me something about filters. Who's gonna teach me? Anyway, I told the HVAC guy he needs to start a TikTok series because the girls don't know what the fuck is going on. At least not me. If you do, hats off to you. Let me tell you who does know. The girls who be doing all that home ec shit with like the saws and shit that they go to Home Depot when they run it, they know this shit. Me, just a little girly pop with a fun drink, I don't know anything. If you're watching this, you probably don't either. So check your filters, change them out, get maintenance, and I'm with you, sis. Don't buy a motherfucking house. Thank you.
Homeownership is nothing but a scam. Let me explain to you why I feel this way. There's this woman, she is about 91 years old. She had purchased her house maybe about 40, 50 years ago. She worked most of her life and she paid the house off. Now, she retired, and of course, you know, when you retire, you're not making the same amount of money you was making when you were working. Well, they come around once every 3 years and they do an assessment of your property. If the value of your house went up, then they take your property taxes up. It got to a point where she started struggling to keep up with the taxes on the house, because the taxes on the house continuously kept going up over the years. Even though the house is paid off, you still got to pay the property taxes on the house. So what they did is, because she fell so far behind on her taxes, they came in and they took her house and they sold it. They auctioned the house off for $14,000, even though the house value was about $400,000. That is terrible. This woman has worked all her life to pay off her house, which is not an easy thing to do. And they took her house and auctioned it off for $14,000. And she lost all the equity that she had grew in the house over the years. That equity went to whoever had bought that house for $14,000. That's a scam. The reason why I say that is because here in this country, you never own the land. They will allow you to purchase the house and finance it, but as long as they own the land, they could take that house from you anytime they want. That's why they never let you own the land. So when you don't pay them their money, they come and get that house. It don't matter how much you paid into that house. It don't matter what you have done to that house, whatever memories you have, they don't care. They just want their money. They will take the house, they will sell it for whatever you owe, and they don't care whoever gets your equity that's in the house. It's a sad situation. Are we ever in a position where we're free of debt? I feel like that if you bought the house and the land, that you shouldn't have to continue to pay taxes on it. It's yours. You own it. But here, other countries don't do this. Other countries, when you buy the house and the land, you outright own it. You don't have to keep paying property taxes on that land. But here, they never allow you to be free of debt. You're never free of debt. I don't care if you run around and say, I'm debt free. No, you're not. If you own a piece of property on their land, you got to continuously pay them until you die. And even when you die and you pass the home down to your children, they got to continue to pay until they die. And the sad thing is, they're making millions and millions and millions as long as that house stays on their land. It never stops. You never pay anything off. How do you allow this woman to work all these years and pay off her house, and you take her house for that little bit of money, and you hand the house over, her equity over, to somebody else who was willing to give you the money that she owed? How do you sleep at night? It's a scam. Not only with the houses, but also with cars. If you don't pay registration every year, you're not allowed to even drive your car. So even if your car is paid off, you still got to pay to drive it. You can't tell me that this is crazy.